Welcome to another episode of Message from Mom, where we're busting the myth that mothers in law aren't necessarily monsters in law. And I'm joined by my lovely co host. Did I say it right this time? I know. Now I have it in my head. So I go with my. But anyway, Kelly is to my left,
I'm Kelly. I am married to Beth's oldest son, Alex.
and to my right is Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm married to Beth's middle son, Andrew.
And both Kelly and Chelsea are my daughters in law. And we're going to raise our glass for a toast because we know that you don't need to be a blood relative to love your relative.
Cheers.
Cheers, ladies, to another episode. We have to get that sip in. Otherwise, it's bad luck.
Exactly.
Okay. So this week's topic is, this is an interesting one. It's misconceptions about our jobs, past and present. So it could be a past job that you've had. It could be a present job. I've only had a couple of jobs in my life.
Yeah.
I was
Had
mom.
about 5 million.
Have you? 5 million. I was a mom for a long time. There are a lot of misconceptions about being a mom.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I can tell you
In this
that.
day and age.
It's true.
Right? So how do we want to kick this one off? Who do we want to talk about first?
Well, actually, I think we should start it off with the misconceptions about your job, because I think that's I think the reason why this topic was something I wanted to talk about on this podcast is because now we all work for a style at a certain age. So we all have our own experience working in this profession. But Beth, since you're kind of, it's your company and you started it, all the things, I think what's really interesting is that we still get, even in the proliferance of social media influencers and bloggers and all of this that we have right now, I think there's a lot out there that people really don't understand about what it is that you and we do. So I thought it would be fun actually to give folks a little bit of insight into what it's like to have a blog and be an influencer.
Okay.
And then also we can share our experiences with it, but then we can also talk about, past jobs
other
too.
careers,
Yeah.
right? Other jobs that
Yeah.
we've had.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm very serious. There are a lot of misconceptions about being a mom. And I was a stay-at-home mom for 26 years. So I have endless things that I could talk about, but we are going to open it up. So for those of you that don't know, so this is our podcast, Message from Mom, that has been so much fun to start and to get together with my daughters-in-law and chat about different topics that range from somewhat controversial to just super fun. Like I loved our desert island discs.
Yeah.
So much fun. So I can open it up. Being a content creator, an influencer, blogger, we create content. So whether that's coming up with desert island discs or my first, and then we fill in the blank, my first job, my first boyfriend, that's our job, is to create content. So, but I think the biggest misconception, so influencer, I'm a blogger, content creator, however you want to name us. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it really is a business. It's not a hobby.
Right.
I still have people that come over to my Instagram account or my YouTube or even the blog and not understand why I'm partnering with brands, why, why sponsored posts are in place, or why, I'm not just, or why there are ads over on
The blog
or ads over on YouTube. So first and foremost, we are content creators, and I love that. And that's how I got into this. I'm a creative, and it's really fun to put an outfit together. And that's how I got started in this business, was just putting an outfit of the day together, before it morphed into other things. So creating content is at the forefront, but it takes a lot to create content.
Yeah.
And we share everything absolutely free. There's no cost to to come over to my YouTube channel and tune in on a video. There's no cost to read a blog post. There's no cost to go over to Instagram. So
to subscribe to the emails either. Those are free too.
that's right. The emails, everything that we produce we're just sharing our content freely. So to offset the cost, because to come up with new ideas, new outfits, new
Mhm.
uh, travel blogs, new, beauty, skincare, whatever it is, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. So, and I'm very blessed. So actually, I just pulled up this article about the pros and cons of social media. I
Mhm.
mean, my income is not, it's not set. I don't get paid a salary.
Mhm.
It's whatever we make from. So if you are clicking on my affiliate link, so if you like my outfit and you're like, oh, I really love that blazer, I'd like to buy that
Mhm.
too. So if you click on my link, again, at no cost to you, you can go over to the brand. Of course, you're going to have to, purchase that on your own,
Right.
but we do receive a small commission off of that. Just
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
so basically, think of me as a salesperson.
Yeah.
So that receive, um, I guess what are the in the retail
Commissions.
world,
Yeah,
commissions.
it's still
Thank you.
commissions.
I don't
Yeah.
know why I just stumbled over that, but anyway, you receive a we receive a commission, and then you actually saw an item that you really love, and hopefully then
Mhm.
you end up loving it. So
Mhm.
so anyway, I think the biggest misconception is that we just do this all for free.
Right.
That's all
Yeah.
a hobby, and that it's just, and we should just be able to, continue to produce content
Yeah.
as a hobby,
Right.
for the rest of our lives. And while some people perhaps it is their hobby, for me it really did it turned a course, and actually very very quickly, and into a business, and then it's grown into a family business now.
Well,
So
also, I mean, at the level that you create your content, it
Mhm.
can't really be a hobby at that
Mhm.
point in time because how else would you make money?
That's right.
You have no other time on your hands to have an actual,
That's
if you
right.
wanted to say like salary job,
That's right.
because you're just constantly creating content. So you have to find
Exactly.
some ways to
That's right.
Well,
make an
it's not
income with
just
it.
that, but also like I think people probably too don't realize the amount of work that goes into
Mhm.
Oh my
creating the
gosh.
content, which also involves at some
Right.
point you were lucky enough to take off and grow your business in such a way that
Mhm.
you needed to hire people, which means
Yeah.
that even though your income might
Mhm.
not be stable from week to week, month to month,
Right.
you're employing people whose income is stable month
Mhm.
to month, week to week, because you are paying them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have a team of people that
Mhm.
work for the blog
Mhm.
that help create content and have their own bits and pieces that they contribute,
Mhm.
but we are all paid through what you're doing with
That's right.
Saka, right?
That's
I
right.
think that might
So
be another
Yes.
misconception
Uh-huh.
too, is that I think a lot of people think that you do everything with
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
well, I think that just goes back to not understanding how much work is actually
yeah,
involved in
Right.
creating the content that people see.
yeah.
We're not the only ones. I mean, obviously,
Mhm.
people are doing it in in a more robust way than others.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But when you're at this level
Mhm.
that Saka is style at a certain age is at,
Mhm.
it's no longer just like you can wheel off a quick video anytime you want. There's a
Right.
lot more production that goes into it.
Mhm.
That is right.
I mean, you are the main character. It's
Right.
like we need you we do need Beth to film and all of that, but
I'm the face.
all the behind the scenes, whether it be, Instagram or the blog
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
creating the videos, there's a lot of different outlets that,
That's right. There's so
yeah.
many moving parts to style at a certain age, and we have an acronym SACA, so we call it SACA. And there are, so I will just share with my podcast listeners. So, Style at a Certain Age started off as a blog, and that is still near and dear to my heart. And we'll always have a blog. I love the written word. I love sharing that. I also love, sharing photos. It's a very intimate place to be.
Mhm.
But we also expanded early on over into Instagram, and that was
Mhm.
My son Andrew, and Chelsea's husband. Andrew's like, "Oh, mom, you need to be on Instagram." And I can remember at the time, like, what, well, I'm just figuring out how to get this blog post up. It's like
Mhm.
now I have to,
Yeah.
think about Instagram. It's just, so I'm over on Instagram, which has changed tremendously from
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
early days when it really was just photo sharing over there.
Yeah.
Now we have reels, and there's videos and short
Mhm.
content that we have to put together. But anyway, so we have Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel, which I also love, but really creates another aspect, another level to the business,
Mhm.
but also putting a YouTube script together. or 2 YouTube scripts together every week,
Mhm.
you know, on top of blog posts that we put out, 7 times a week, on top of Instagram that's also 7 days a week.
Mhm.
So then we have the YouTube channel, and then now, I don't know, call me crazy, but it's like, hey,
Let's do a podcast.
let's put a podcast together. And you 2
Yes.
idiots all said, you both said yes, let's do
Yeah.
that. But
We did.
I don't think it's idiotic at all. As I said, I'm having a lot of fun over here because this is really a breath of fresh air
Yeah,
from
Mhm.
creating content.
it really
because this
is.
more freewheeling and it's just our opinions.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, I have a team. I have 6 people on my team. Some are full time. I have 2 full time employees and 4 part time
Mhm.
employees, and so it takes a village to get this, to get Styled a Certain Age out and in front of
Really does.
people. And I will also, I think one of the misconceptions is that we just, it's everything is just, just kind of off the cuff, and it doesn't
Right.
take a lot to put together.
Right.
Oh, you just for Instagram. Oh, you just take a photo on your iPhone and you just put it up there.
Right.
It's like, no,
Actually.
it's
Mhm.
so much more than that. You have to come up with a caption. I mean, if we're really smart, we have to come up with the hashtags, but then we have to link the outfits.
There's a lot of strategy behind it.
Yes, then we
Yeah.
have to link, to back to our affiliate links, which is one
Mhm.
revenue stream that we do.
Yeah.
And then also too, social media like Instagram. It's
Constantly changing.
constantly changing, and they're constantly making you. It's so you really don't have evergreen content over there. Where like over on the
Mhm.
blog and YouTube, we do
Mhm.
create specific posts and videos that live, I guess, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can discover and we have some videos 5 years old and people are still like, oh wow, this is a really great video. Or
Yeah.
same with the blog post.
Yeah.
Instagram,
It's
you have to feed
Yeah.
that beast, and I'm
You do.
telling you, that is a
Yeah.
rabbit wheel that is very exhausting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very exhausting. But yes, so I think the misconception is I do it all on my own. It's a hobby, and
Yes.
it's just a photo, right? It's just
Yeah.
a photo. So yes, so those are some of the misconceptions about being an influencer. And also too, I think that well, let me throw it over to both of you. So what are some of the misconceptions before you came on at Styled a Certain Age? What were some of the things that you didn't understand or seen it in a different light now that you've been over here working?
I came on to work with you on Style at a Certain Age back in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started slowly. She introduced me into the world of Saka by being in charge of the email newsletters that went out every day. And so that was my entree,
Mhm.
which is a perfect way to start because there's just enough pressure, but not too much pressure. And you're dealing with content that's already created. So you're basically just like putting pieces of things together.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a great way to kind of be introduced to the whole world of it. But I think even at that time, you were pretty much on your own, and so there was a freewheeling feeling to it because you were just doing everything by yourself. So there weren't
Mhm.
there was that freewheeling aspect to it, right? And so it wasn't until like 2020, 2019 where we moved out here and was able to be here because we were on the West Coast. So we were always doing long distance.
Mhm.
But then once we were here, there was a concerted effort to really try to like bring structure and processes to the business. And that was when things really took a turn.
Mhm.
And I'm, we knew that that was the direction that you wanted to go. So I
Mhm.
kind of was able to apply what my previous jobs had been toward getting stuff more systematized.
Mhm.
And we're still continuing to do that even now as we bring people on.
We've come
but
a long way, baby.
we really have. It's totally true.
Because you remember, yes,
It's
those
totally
early
true.
days when it was freewheeling. And,
Yeah.
and I also will share this. So in 2018, and my late husband was still alive, and
Mhm.
Mac was taking
He was
my
the
photos.
photographer, yeah.
Well, uh, oh gosh, I love him. I mean, he's been gone for 5 years now, and he had a love of photography, but I can't I can't say that that was his strength in life. I mean, his profession was not photography, but God bless him. I mean,
He loved taking
he
your
loved
picture
taking
though.
my photos,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I look back at some of them. Some of them are really great.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite photos are from Mac,
Yeah.
and some of my least favorite photos are from Mac because because there again
Oh
we kind
gosh.
of didn't know what we were
Andrew
doing
takes the worst pictures of me. I'm like,
because he doesn't care.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, how do you
Yeah.
even get that bad of a picture of me?
I know.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But anyway, so in 2018, Mac was diagnosed with cancer, and so there was just some other stresses put on my life,
Mm-hmm.
and also too having to take a look at, oh gosh, did I want to continue with this?
Right.
And so you came on. I mean, I was really kind of drowning at
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
point, and you came on, and you're a really big blessing. With the emails and all of that, and then when you and AJ then moved here, and then and then we were definitely trying to put the processes into place because I really did know that I did want to continue on.
Yeah.
I did want to continue on with at a certain age, and then now it's very special to me because it's a company that actually Mac had his hand in, from the very beginning, and that will always warm my heart.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, I've been doing it without him longer than with him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of also
crazy.
kind of crazy.
Mhm.
Yes, how 5 years, But anyway, but you've been here from the very, very beginning. And we have really slowly taken it from that freewheeling,
Oh yeah.
where it was just me, it was a mom and pop shop, to
Yeah.
then we added you on. And then after I lost Mac, then my youngest son, Christian, stepped in and started taking photos. And then we decided that I had already started the YouTube channel. It was really kind of struggling because I started it right when Mac was diagnosed with cancer. So that was a channel that, I mean, honestly, did
If
not.
you could let one thing fall to the wayside, that was the
It was
one.
always YouTube. But there again, you came along, and AJ was huge. So that's my oldest son. Really, I mean, brilliant mind. And I will blow his own horn. And he has a PhD from Stanford. Great academic, great mind, and he's always been so supportive. Really, come along behind the scenes and tweak so many things. And I know he's helped you quite a bit,
Quite a
too,
bit,
right? But then my youngest Christian then stepped in and started taking the photos and video. And honestly, looking back, I don't know if I could have stepped after losing Mac. That was the one thing that I so struggled with for like a year. I just didn't want to get in front of the camera. It was, but knowing that, I had you and AJ was there behind the scenes, and then Christian, and then it was like, I was starting to have people depend on me. That was actually very, very good for me. And I will have to even toot Andrew's horn, because Andrew has actually, even though he's always like, very hands off, he has come along, like he put in all the processes. I mean, even my business analytics, he put that doc together.
He's good at all of that
He's
stuff.
so good at that. And even now, he'll be like, he doesn't do it as much anymore because he really is, he does try to be like hands off, but he's very interested in the business. And he worked at Snapchat.
Yeah.
We can't forget that. And he had so many insights and so many
into the whole social media.
Oh my
everything.
goodness. I mean, God's been very, very good to me.
Very
and
insightful.
It's been so crazy.
Insightful on like the back end, which is like
so
the most
insightful.
important
So
part,
honestly, absolutely. But so there again, how good God has been. My own family has all of these amazing qualities that they have brought onto Saka. So it really has turned into that family business, which there again just warms my heart, because that's what it started off as.
Right.
With just me and Mac, heading out and, to the hills of San Francisco and taking photos, in front of the trash can, and missing the beautiful vista. But boy, did we get that trash can in focus.
Well, I will say, coming on, because I'm maybe one of the newer oncomers into Saka, and my misconception in joining is kind of how much work goes into everything, especially because I'm started with the Instagram, kind of new into starting with the blog, and the blog does take it's not rocket science.
No.
Like, I feel like we always say that, but it's tedious. And so it's like, it's very tedious. You have to do things a certain way. And the linking is very tedious. So even, I think there's sometimes where people will even come onto Instagram and they'll be like, hey, can you like individually link like every single person's outfit? And it's like, yes, but also, that's tedious because then, when I go to do the automation, it's like, then I've got to grab Kelly's link and my link and Beth's link. And it's possible. But then when you're also linking 10 other things that day, it's like,
and multiply that one request by, 50
exactly
other people that want the same thing.
So it's a lot more work than I think a lot of people realize. And I think even myself realized before I joined on how much work
goes in behind the scenes.
I will say that the processes and like everything that you guys have created on the backside do help. And sometimes I am not, like, Kelly will even get on to me and she's like, can you make sure you enter in the widgets and the pictures? And I'm like, yes, I'm sorry.
Like, dear Lord.
But I'm like, yes,
I'm sorry. I have to do.
But I am, it's like, I do need direction and I'm glad that it's there. But also sometimes I'm just like, okay, that's done. Okay, good. We're good. You know what I mean? Like, moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up in particular because, so my job prior to working for Saka was working at Apple and at Marcom, and, like folder structure and file sharing was like the biggest, like there was so much importance placed on that because so many people would have to dip into these folders to get assets, right? It was really drilled into my brain that like when we set up processes for file sharing for Saka, it has to have this like amazing folder structure. Everything has to, it's like what do you call it? The point of truth or the source of truth. Yeah. Every single person within the organization has to be able to get back to this point to get what they need.
That's right.
Which is helpful.
Setting stuff up like that, like that's like when you're going from only one person with all of this mess of stuff on their desktop.
Yeah.
My desktop. You're still horrified with
I am. I'm still horrified with your desktop. It's a nightmare.
No,
look at it.
You would be horrified by my notes. So that's how I keep, I'm not very good with like Google Calendar, and it's actually a problem. Like, I probably need to be better at that. I keep everything in my notes. So it's like to-do list, like in my notes. And that's what I do. Basically, I get to the end of my night, Sunday night, and then I'm in bed and I go Monday to-do list. And then I go boom, 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 boom. This is all the stuff that I need to do. And I label it out by the time frame. But I don't think that's the best way.
Might not be.
Stick around. Kelly will get you.
But I don't know if she ever will, because we talked about this yesterday. I was like, there has got to be some level of Virgo in you, because I'm a Virgo sun, and I'm just like, where is my Virgo? It's like
your organization.
You're organized, but in your own way.
In a different way.
You're not.
My brain is.
You're not organized in the Saka systems yet. Yeah.
No, not yet. But it is. But I will say it is helpful, because when I do go to find stuff, like otherwise, if she did not have the systems in place, I wouldn't be able to do my job.
That's right.
No,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's right.
So
I wouldn't be able to do my job if that stuff wasn't there, because 90, not even 90, I would say maybe something like 80% of what we do on the blog is it's referential to what we do, because fashion is seasonal and cyclical, right? So we are, and because of the style and, the classic style dressing and the fashion that we feature on the blog, most of what we do does not go out of fashion, right? So we're constantly able to pull from archives and to, reference back to things that we've done in the past and freshen them up for now.
Yeah.
But those things are still relevant. And so that's a really important part of how we're able to get, and it's more than 7 times a week. It's like 9 times a week that we're doing posting. So
that's right.
It's, so it's important to be able to find all that stuff. And I think from my standpoint, just working on the blog, that's a huge misconception that I think probably people have. And we said this already with the amount of work that goes into it, but I think the level of organization and fine tuning that we're doing as an organization is like on par with like I said, I worked at Apple at Marcom. I mean, it's not dissimilar in so many ways.
Well,
So
that's actually very encouraging to hear. It really has. And
I mean, a well-oiled machine is the
Right?
machine
But I
we
do
need to
think
be.
that
So
the way that we do think, because so I'm in real estate pretty much full time. And prior to being an individual agent, I was on a team and we used Google Drive. And I would say, like, at Saka, because my brain doesn't necessarily compute to Google Drive all the time, just because that's obviously, I mean, people would be horrified if they saw my note section, because that's how my brain works.
I'm not sure
My
I even
brain
wanna
is just
ever
like
see this
"Ugh."
note section.
It's literally like, yeah, we're both Virgos, so I don't know what that says about us. But at Saka, I will say the Google Drive section makes sense to me. When I was on my team with real estate prior, I don't even know. Like, I remember we'd be in team meetings and my team lead would be like, well, how do you get to X, Y, and Z? And it would be the most, like, the craziest route. And I'm like, how? I'm like, also, you can just search in Google Drive. I don't know if anyone needs help with that, but you can search. So at the top,
really
you just
is.
go, you
Yes.
know, looking for XYZ and it should pull up.
Yep.
But it would be like, well, you need to click on this folder and then you need to go to that folder and then you go to this folder. I'm like, I'm never going to remember this.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm literally not going to do that.
Google Drive is such a great way
agree.
for organizing
Yeah.
files and
It
and
is.
it's great for file sharing too. Like, it just
Yeah.
makes our lives,
It is. Well, and I can
not to
share.
give a shout out to Google, but
I'm sorry,
It works.
I love them. They have
It
Google
works.
Yeah,
Calendar.
it
I mean,
works.
everything is Google, and then we can also share Google Drive with brands. You know, so
yeah,
when I
because we
have
do
to
have outside.
So when I do work with brands, and so one of the upsides of my job is that I do get to partner with brands and brands that I absolutely love. And it's, you know, sometimes they're fashion brands. I mean, I love beauty. I've partnered with a lot of beauty brands, I mean, all the big ones, Estee Lauder, It Cosmetics. I mean, you know, just a couple that come to mind. Skincare companies. I mean, I love to talk about health and wellness, but yes, one of the upsides, but sometimes it's kind of a downside. I mean, you
It just
guys,
depends.
you do hear me sometimes. It's a lot of work.
Well, because in all of those situations, you're
It's a lot of work.
rarely working with the brand itself. You're working with the PR firm that handles that brand,
Yes.
and so it can be the PR company that has some issues, not
Absolutely.
necessarily the brand. But let's talk about that for just a quick minute more. Is I did want to say that I think a misconception too. So we have these affiliate links so that if you see something that Beth is wearing that you like, and you click on a link. As she mentioned, we do make a commission. I will say, though, that the commissions, we're talking about a few dollars here. We're not talking about like a huge amount of money. So you can imagine how long it takes for, you know, so many people to buy a blazer, and we make $3 from that, right?
Right.
And I will say too that the ads on the blog, we're making pennies basically for, you know, it's all things that they add up in the aggregate, but like individually, these are very small amounts. And this is why, as a blogger, influencer, public person that Beth is for this stuff, like partnering with brands and being able to do a collaboration where you're getting a set rate for the work that you're providing is a very important piece of what we have to do to kind of fill in the blanks. Because like I said, pennies on the dollar, you know, dollars for this and that. It takes a lot.
Well, before I started doing like the LTK and all of the links, I don't think I realized like how you got paid for that. And actually, funny enough, I think the very first post that I ever did for you, I was like, oh, you can link the like, I think she had like Jay McLaughlin pants on, or, you know, I was like, oh, you can literally like tag. And then she was like, oh, no, don't do that. Like, make sure you link an LTK.
I mean, you can tag, but we also have to link.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm like, that's how she's making her money, because like, I don't think I even realized that that's how it kind of worked until I started doing it. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. Because how else would, you know, obviously it's got to link back somewhere.
Well, in these affiliate, LTK is probably the dominant in the space. But there are these companies that you apply to become a member of, basically, and they accept you based on your readership, your followers, the what am I saying? The conversation, like the amount of interest that you have, traffic,
Mhm.
things like this.
Right.
They accept you or not. And so if you're accepted, then you get to use you get to
Mhm.
be a part of their affiliate program. So then you get these special links that then
Mhm.
you can apply to everything. But remembering to apply those special links to every single thing that you
Right.
do, there's a little bit of a learning curve there at
Yeah.
first, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. And as we said, it's not rocket science. It's not neurosurgery.
No, nobody is getting
But
hurt over this.
no,
but
thank
No,
goodness.
yeah.
But it's very it's labor intensive.
It's labor
It's
intensive.
labor
Yeah.
intensive
Yeah.
on the back end.
It's just
and I think
tedious.
that-
It's like tedious.
Yes. And
It's
that's
yeah.
what I think a lot of people don't understand. And then two, not so there are different revenue streams that style at a certain age has, and every influencer really kind of decides how they want to earn their
Mhm.
Mhm.
income. And some just partner with brands. I mean, that's just what they do every day, all day
Right.
long.
Mhm.
Some are just earning money on LTK. So they're
Mhm.
the LTK, so I mean, they're slinging content out left and right, but it's, fashion or beauty or whatever.
Mhm.
I've kind of settled into I really didn't want to lean one way or the other
Mhm.
because there are just so many topics that are near and dear to my heart that I want to talk about. And especially because I am aging. I started the blog when I was 56 and now I'm 65. So
Mhm.
actually, it'll be 10
Coming
years
up on
next year.
10 years,
We're going to
yeah.
have to have a
A
fun
party.
party. Definitely a fun party. But anyway, I just really wanted to land in the middle because I
Yeah.
didn't want
Mhm.
to just always be
You don't want to pigeonhole yourself.
I,
Yeah.
I didn't want to pigeonhole myself. Exactly.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be more of a lifestyle brand. I started sharing an
Mhm.
outfit of the day, and we still do that. But I also realized if I'm sharing what I'm wearing, because that's the number one question that we get, where can I buy that?
Right.
Actually, I just got an email of your maxi skirt that we did for Style
Oh,
for Every
really?
Age.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like, okay, if you've taken the time to email me where this item is from, I'm just wondering how she
Missed the link.
missed
Missed
the
the
link.
link.
But anyway,
I did link that, and it's on
I know.
sale.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's
Well,
on the
anyway,
blog too.
it's very interesting to me, but there is we'll always have that aspect where I'm always going to share an outfit because hello, I have to get dressed every day,
Yeah.
and you have to get
Mhm.
dressed every day, and you have to get dressed every day because now we have
Mhm.
linking everyone's outfits. So I know that I can always share my outfit, but then talk about other topics
Right.
like aging or, um, beauty or, skincare or
Well,
traveling or, traveling solo, now that I'm,
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's
now that
it's
I'm single,
topical. And I think part
topical.
of like going back to
Mhm.
to the creation of the content
Mhm.
and more I think this works for all the channels, but I feel it more poignantly on the blog probably because I spend most of my time there.
Mhm.
And that is
Mhm.
that I think a misconception, like we've talked about, might be that we're just churning through and like putting stuff out and just like trying to sell stuff. And I want to just make the point that that's not necessarily true. Like, yes, we do need to sell things
Mhm.
in order to earn an income.
Mhm.
And we do need to partner brands in order to earn an income. But I will say, though, that I think Saka, and I don't know if you're unique in this because I'm not friends with any other folks that run fashion blogs, but I
Mhm.
will say that I think as tedious as it might be on the back end to link and kind of go through all of the nuts and bolts that we go through there, one of my most favorite aspects of working on the blog that I don't think people think about so much, and I hope it comes across in a more subtle and maybe unconscious way, is that we actually try to tell stories.
Mhm.
It's actually
Mhm.
it's
We
not
do.
just throwing up an outfit of the day or this or that or whatever. It's
Mhm.
not just about trying to
Right?
throw everything at the wall.
That's right.
Like we're storytelling, we're
Mhm.
creating
Mhm.
hopefully a community
Mhm.
of people that
Mhm.
we resonate with. But I
Mhm.
think the storytelling aspect is a really important piece that I've learned from past jobs, but that, in this situation where we're
Well,
talking about the written word and
yeah.
we have photography that backs it up. So we can
Mhm.
actually tell a really beautiful,
Mhm.
a really relatable story
Right.
Yeah.
through a blog post, through text and images.
Yes.
Which I think
That
is
I
so
think is really
important.
And that's
nice.
my hope
Yeah.
that we always
Because
do
like
that.
I will say that I notice like maybe girls that are my age that are starting to get into the blogging or the Instagramming or the content creation, one thing that I feel like you do really well is you make sure that you do tell the story when you're doing the blog post, but also I feel like you create the content in a way where it makes it very easy for people to see how the outfit looks. You know what I mean? Like you also keep in mind of your audience when, you know, when we are linking things that we're probably not going to, you know, have the link be like teeny tiny in the most aesthetically pleasing way, but it's still going to be aesthetically pleasing, but we're going to make sure that everyone can actually see it.
We're 65 years old.
Well, it's not even just that, but I can think of a few like people that are my age that are kind of like starting to like try to get into it. And I'm like, I can't even see what this text says, you know, and it's like a 2-second reel or story of you like twirling in this dress. But it's like, you do a really good job of making sure that it's like, okay, let's like physically see the whole outfit.
Yes.
We're going to like see the video. And not only are we going to see the video, but we're going to have a picture of the front and the back, and we're going to do it on the blog, and we're going to tell the story. And I think that is a misconception. And when people are starting out and like being a quote unquote content creator, they think like, oh, this is so easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is, I'm going to like, I dress cute. So I'm going to take a video of my outfit and everyone's going to, and it's like, okay, that's fair. I'm sure everyone gets started like that, but also there is a level of strategy that goes behind it. And I think you've really honed in on that strategy, to actually make the sales, you know?
Yeah.
Which is ultimately the end goal.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to the strategy part too. Like, you know, we can talk about really boring, unsexy things like folder structure,
right?
Which actually is I think that's very
that's
sexy.
the back end. That's what we call the back end.
That's where me and Beth just like
that's where the magic really happens. Because I mean, stepping in front of the camera is just one small aspect of it. I mean, first it starts with, I mean, if we're just talking about clothes, you know, first it starts with the outfit, but then I'll just take it back because yes, that's how I got started sharing an outfit of the day, but now it's gone much deeper. It could be because it's like, okay, I'm going away on a beach vacation next week. So it's like, well, you know, what am I going to pack? Well, what's the valuable information that I can share with my audience? Because I always, and I hope I've drilled that into everybody here. My whole goal is to add value to people's lives, to women's lives, you know, to everybody.
To be relatable.
Yeah.
You have to be relatable in order for people to.
So important to me. It's just really, really important. It's not just about, I mean, of course, yes. I mean, I'm sharing the outfits because that is just an aspect of Sokka and how we first started. But there again, it's like I also, if I'm talking about the outfit, I want to give a style tip about that outfit. So I can, and I just shared this on one of my videos. I mean, the quote, teach a man to fish and he'll be able to feed himself his entire life. And that really is my goal. So whether I'm talking about traveling and maybe that, you know, now it's like, you know, traveling solo. So here are some tips. This is what I've learned.
Right.
You know, here's how you put an outfit together. Here, you know, here is how to have we have recipes every week. Fries with Oscar is always about a recipe and a cocktail. So it's like, okay, you know,
quick, entertaining thing.
But Kelly takes everybody through how to actually put that recipe together. So my goal is to always add value to people's lives.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So
through storytelling.
Well, and that goes back to what I was saying, like the unsexy thing, folder structure, blah, blah, blah. But strategy wise, like we spend a lot of time devising how we're going to map out a month or a season. And I think that might also be, it kind of falls into that category of misconceptions of that things are just kind of happening. But no, there's a lot of thought and pre-planning and pre-work that goes into making those things, those stories happen in a way that is relevant and is topical and is meaningful to people who are going to be tuning in, regardless of what channel they tune into.
Right. Exactly.
But I will say another misconception, I think you brought up beach vacation. I think another misconception is that people, like when, you do see a lot of like influencers, and you see their beautiful vacations, and it's part of it, like there's a reaction that is, oh, I'm so envious of that person and their vacation and how beautiful and da da da. But then I think there's another interpretation that one can have, and that's inspirational, and less I'm jealous of that and want to do it, and more of a kind of, I'm here to give you some tips and tricks on how to do this or that or the other thing.
Exactly.
And coupled with that, I think, which is what we do, the latter, but coupled with that, I think, is that there is a misconception that our job and our lives are basically just like, we're going on vacation and we're wearing these cute outfits and we're drinking cocktails by the beach or by the pool or whatever. It's like, that is like so far from.
Well, also we still have to, I mean, we still have to do the job. So if you notice that the blog still runs, the Instagram still runs, the LTK still runs. So when we are on vacation, we are still doing stuff.
Yeah, I would actually say that while people may have the conception that we're like just out there having a great time all the time, I will actually invert that and actually dispel the rumor and say that we actually never get a full on vacation, because all of the time that we spend, whether it's on vacation, on a getaway, at home, whatever it is, it's all needing to filter back through Saka and the work.
So it's a flexible job in the sense that, you know, we are able to do work with us, take it with us. And it's the same with like, I mean, it's the same with real estate. It's like, you know, there are certain things I need to be here for, but they always say go on vacation if you want business. And that's always how it works. You go on vacation, you have 5 clients.
I know,
you know? Hello, I want to see this house.
I know. That's so funny.
It's so funny. But so I don't know if this is necessarily a misconception, but it really is one of the things that we struggle with, and why we have worked really hard to put processes into place. So we can have an 8 to 5 job. So we can shut it off at a certain point, that we are, you know, working towards having everybody having a vacation.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and what does that look like? You know, how does the work still continue while, you know, one of us is on vacation? So, but creating that work-life balance, because honestly, with social media, we could be working 24/7, and I am not lying. And I think both of you understand that now, you know, coming on with Saka, because I mean, social media lives 24/7. So we do need to learn, and I think we've gotten really a lot better with that.
I think so too.
Through the years, and actually having that team has allowed me to just say, yeah, I'm shutting this down. I'm shutting this down at 5:00, and I for sure shut my phone down at 10. Everybody knows now. I put the DND so everybody knows that they can't call, or they can call me, but
you're not answering.
I'm not answering, because these are things that are important. But yes, I think the misconception is it's just one big party, and
that's not the case at all.
And it's not. No, lots of hard work behind the scenes.
It's really not. But to go to your point, and also to Chelsea's point, in that we do have the flexibility so that we can create a work-life balance for each and every one of ourselves in the way that makes the most sense for us. And that's the flexibility that you don't get from a 9-to-5 job, right? Yes. Maybe since the pandemic, more people have that now than they did before. But the fact that, let's say, and this is completely true, but for instance, my most productive hours are from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. That's pretty much my work day. But if it needs to shift for any reason, it can, and I can accommodate that by either working ahead of schedule on things, you know. So having that flexibility is really unique, and it's nice, and I appreciate that. And I would never, ever now go back to working at an office.
It would be hard.
Never. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So because I've tasted what having your own, I've tasted what this is like. And like,
I have to say, creating content,
it's really different.
Even though it's a lot of work, it's a lot of fun.
It is fun. It's fun, and it's different. For me, it's fun because real estate is completely different than this. And for me, well, there's a few reasons why I like this. I think the flexibility works very well for what I do. But I have always been, even, you know, doing real estate for the past 4 years, when I started real estate, I was doing dance and I had that income coming in. Real estate has very much like an ebb and flow, and you could be really, really good, or you could be really, really bad. And I feel like for me, I enjoy this because the schedule is flexible, but also it gives me some sort of income that is stable that's coming in. And it makes me feel like, okay, even if I have a bad month with real estate, I still have this. I can still pay my bills, which is really nice. But still keep the flexibility of, okay, I can work, like you said, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then maybe I have a break from 11 to 4, and then I do 4 to 6 or whatever,
Yeah.
You could build your schedule, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
deadlines.
Absolutely. But you can.
Yeah. As long as you're hitting the deadline, then, and as long as you know.
However you get your work done prior to the deadline is totally up to you.
And
but
it might be by the hair of your chinny chin chin.
And it sometimes is, actually, because we do have technical difficulties.
I think I'm the one that does that the most.
She's the problem.
I'm the problem. I'm the problem and the solution.
We call those blockers. We call those people blockers.
I'm a blocker.
But you're getting better.
I'm getting better. But I'm telling you, because we do have, so I will go back to this, because so at a certain age, we have everything. We have a blog. We have Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. And now we have a podcast. So
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. And I'm in charge of all of that. And ultimately, the buck stops with me and starts with me too. But yes, so I can be the blocker, but I do know, I mean, I think you do know this by now. I mean, I always get it done, but sometimes it really is like,
sometimes we have
I know.
We have to shoot her a little text and go,
are we doing anything today? What's the plan? I don't know. What is the plan? Would somebody tell me what the plan is?
And then Kelly says, please refer to the planning document that is in the Google Drive.
That's right. What? We have a planning document? Okay, yeah, that's right. We do. I forgot about that. But so another misconception. Well, I don't even know this is a misconception, but being on a platform, a social media platform, one of the things that has been interesting to me is people's comments, or people's negative comments. And I don't think that that's really a misconception, but I think we can just touch on that very briefly.
I think there are misconceptions that lie within certain comments.
I think, I think that's probably a good way to put it. And I think that a lot of people do believe that just because we are online, we have an online presence, that they can come along and say anything they want to, because we are, and I'll put in air quotes, we're putting ourselves out there.
Yeah. Public figures.
And we're public figures. And okay, yes, to some extent, I would not disagree with that. But then on the other hand, we are also people. We also have feelings. And, sometimes things are not as easy to brush off as other things.
I think the comments, like, I don't know. I feel like when people make those comments, I always think, okay, if you were face to face with me, would you say that to my face?
Right?
Or are you only comfortable saying that because you are behind the computer?
Of course, that's why says a bad thing.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of people should say that to themselves. Okay, would I say that to her face?
That's right.
And if the answer is no, then maybe we don't say that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people think that way, but
no, I know.
But that has been one of the things that, from the very beginning, I've had to contend with. Anyone out there, any social influencer has had to contend with, and that is so I do think maybe the misconception is that you
don't care, you don't read them,
you don't care,
right? And we do. We do. I try not to. I try to have a level head about it, and I was actually much better. And I can remember sharing this with you, and actually the boys, and after I lost Mac, and so he was my number one cheerleader and was always there to pick me up. It's a lot harder when it was just me, and I didn't have anybody to bounce it off of, or someone to come along and give me a hug and say,
it's okay.
Don't even, like Mac would just say, he would always say, you can count or he would say, it's a blessing if you can count your friends on one hand, 5 people, because those are the 5 people whose opinion matters. And he's like, if it's not one of them, what, and And I still have his voice in my head, but it's a lot different when, when he's
Yeah.
not here to.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hard for me.
like when I read the comments,
Yeah.
sometimes they're not even about me, but I get offended. And
I know, right?
I'm like, it's not even a comment about me, but I'm like, how dare you?
I know.
You know, I'm like, this is offensive to me and it's not about me. So,
Yeah. But I think that I think you can also say though that a misconception is that you know, we've gotten to a point where yes, you might not be doing every little bit and piece of all the aspects of Saka, but you do see those comments. Like
Yes.
there are
Yeah,
not
you're-
a team of people who are filtering out all the bad stuff for you.
Mhm.
So it is true that
Mhm.
and actually the fact that that doesn't exist is kind of part and parcel to the fact that like we actually foster and create and are happy to have a community of positive people that we engage with
Yes. And we do.
on all the platforms. And
Yeah.
so it's important to keep, I think, to keep that community positive and going and good.
Mhm.
But then you do have to contend with the fact that people can come along and be real mean. And
Yeah.
And they can. And I will say, I have an amazing community
Mhm.
on all of my platforms, and I love to hear from them because
Mhm.
they are, I would say, 99.5%. Everything is very positive. It really
Yeah.
is.
There's,
But-
I mean, there's a few women on the blog who have been commenting there for so long that
I
I feel like I have a friendship with
I know,
them,
you
and I've
do.
never met them, you
I
know,
know.
but
Yeah.
they're just like so tried and true, and
Mhm.
we can chit chat over comments,
Mhm.
and it's actually
Yeah.
it's quite
Mhm.
nice.
We
I
can count
like
on
it a
them
little
too.
For
yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
I like
Yeah.
And I do love that. So, so what else about this industry? Or do we want to switch to another industry? Do I want to talk about
I don't know.
any
I don't know. I
other?
mean, I think we've
I think
been
we've-
going on for a
yeah,
bit. I
we've
think
covered it.
we've
Yeah,
covered
I
all
think-
this, I think for sure.
I think we really have.
But it also leaves room for us to talk about other things for another time.
Yeah.
No, like
I
being,
agree.
like being a mom.
Yeah.
I
Because-
agree.
because
Yeah.
that was that was my full-time job
Yeah.
for 26 years. Although Saka is my second longest running job. So
Oh,
yeah,
there we go.
9 years.
Well, I
I
think we
know.
could, yeah, that could be like a whole new
Mhm.
episode for sure.
Uh-huh.
I think so.
Yes, but I do think the wonderful thing about being a content creator is creating content, because I am a creative, and that is just a lot of fun. I think that another positive is our community
Mhm.
that we have built up.
Yeah.
It's really, really wonderful. And honestly, even before all of those two things, it has turned into a family business.
Mhm.
That, when does that happen? Very
Yeah.
rarely in life.
Yeah.
And we have found a way to navigate through, highs and lows and ups and downs. And it's truly satisfying
Mhm.
to have a family business.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to have everybody's talents, come to the forefront.
Mhm.
Well, this is an
And-
upcoming topic. So,
Mm-hmm.
how to run a family business.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
one. That is
So-
a good one.
So
All
we'll
right.
save those details for later, but that'll be a good one.
Okay, ladies. Well, thank you for another episode of Message for Mom, where we are busting the myth that mothers-in-law aren't necessarily monsters-in-law.